You guys ever play bowling for the Atari 2600? This is amazing, and I'm being 100% genuine. Okay, so I'm sure everyone knows the basic goal of bowling. I mean, Wii Sports was a thing. But just in case, you throw a ball at 10 pins, they go boom. The ball doesn't hit every pin, so you gotta rely on some pin-on-pin violence. Look at this Wikipedia GIF. As you can see, the ball only hits 4 of the 10 pins. The other 6 are knocked down by the others. I'm going to call this pin physics for simplicity. Here's me showing it off in real life. This 2600 game actually emulates this phenomenon. The pins are these little squares, and when the ball, that's also squares because the 2600 couldn't do circles, hits the pins, you can see where they hit each other. And you can also see where the ball bounces off the pins and changes its direction a little bit, like its path is diverted as it hits those pins. For 1979, this just seems miraculous. I didn't think the 2600 could have physics like this, but then again, I'm not like ever playing the 2600, and I'm definitely not a guru of this console, and this is definitely way earlier than my gaming knowledge goes. I'm sure some nerd can educate me about how the 6507 processor was the messiah of 8-bit or whatever. For now, I'm going to just marvel at this amazingness and appreciate it for what it is, which is just, it's great. As for actually playing the game, it's simple like most Atari 2600 titles. I mean, you got a joystick and a button, so there's not really many inputs. You use the joystick to position your bowler. You throw the ball with the singular button, and yeah, there's 3 game modes. One just lets you bowl straight. You can't like hook it or anything. One lets you steer the ball up and down whenever you want. The most realistic one lets you initiate a hook while the ball is rolling. That's what you're seeing here. Once you press the button, as the ball is rolling down the lane, you can kind of like press up or down to get the hook to start. But once it's started, there's no correcting it, so it's all about timing, kind of like real life bowling. There's no throwing the ball faster or hook sharper. It's the same consistent movements. However, with there being no symbols or indicators on the lane, it's kind of difficult to time. I tried counting before initiating the hook, and that kind of worked to a small degree. There's also no left and right hand. You can hook the ball whatever which way, so it's not an issue regardless. And the game's from a side perspective, so you can pretend the bowler is throwing either hand. I don't know, I just felt like mentioning it. All 10 frames are here. The scoring seems correct. You got strikes, which is if you knock all the pins on the first throw of the frame. And you got spares, which is where you knock the remaining pins down in the second throw. Getting a spare makes the bowler do a little jump. Getting a strike gives you the classic Atari seizure-inducing light show. The sound in general is just classic Atari, man. It doesn't get any better than this. That's kind of the game. There's nothing else. It's a bowling game in its purest, simplest form. But again, it captures the essence of bowling, which is consistency and hoping the pins cooperate. I can't think of a better Atari game that accurately reflects the real life, counterpart. This is pretty perfect in my opinion. It's just missing some details, such as the aforementioned throw and hook speed. There's also no selecting different balls, cores, weight, and oil patterns, etc., which may sound like Latin to some of you. I'm always surprised to find out how many people don't realize how much goes into bowling, but honestly, this isn't the point of the video. However, while we're on the subject, all that advanced stuff wouldn't appear on consoles till like the SNES. Brunswick World Tournament of Champions has all these different kinds of balls you can choose that have their own kind of stats and attributes, how they react on the lanes. You can customize your bowler even though it's mainly just clothing. There's a whole power and spin mechanic. You really do have a complete set of tools to emulate the experience of like league bowling. There's tournaments, there's careers, and there's a ton of pro bowlers on this thing too. So it's actually a genuinely great game if you're into this kind of thing. And hey, the pin physics are actually pretty good to be a SNES game. It's a good simulation for the console, and but what's wild is this is 1997, 18 years after the Atari masterpiece. Now, I'm mainly talking about consoles. DOS had a couple, early Windows had a few, but man, if you're on console, you were kind of hurting for a bowling game. But now that I say that out loud, I think that only really bothers me. Brunswick World Tournament of Champions was overshadowed by the other bowling game on SNES, which is Super Bowling. It's not a simulation game. It's kind of like League Bowling, that one SNK arcade game, if you know what I'm talking about. You pick a ball weight, you have a powered hook meter, and it's super vibey and definitely a classic. Brunswick is what your dad played. Super Bowling is what you played. And these would be the only two bowling games on SNES. Interestingly enough, around the same time, PS1 would get a slew of bowling games. Animaniacs 10-Pin Alley is an absolute banger of a game with some of the best pin physics on the console. I mean, look at that. This is some kiddie game. They could have just pooped something out for a quick buck, but this game's genuinely good, and you know it's great, especially if you're a fan of the show. But then, kind of like the SNES, this is what you played. You did get the dad game, Brunswick Circuit Pro Bowling, which has bowler bios.
North Carolina does produce bowlers. Me. My name is Curtis Odom. When I'm not out beating up on the competition, I can actually be a nice guy. That's why I won the Steve Nagy Award for Sportsmanship in 1996. But be careful, looks can be deceiving. Let's bowl.
These are so good, man. I could watch them all.
I'm Ricky Ward, aka Bulldog. So guys with tons of titles, they don't scare me. I eat them for lunch. After all, with 3 tournament wins in the last 3 years, it lets me intimidate guys too. So take me on if you dare.
The game itself is notable, as it's one of the few with an actual crowd. All the other games tend to just be in a lonely bowling alley. Here, you got an audience of JPEGs. I mean, look, they don't even move. Alright, this video is getting out of hand, okay? Before I go back to Atari, did you know Tamsoft, you know, the guys behind Battle Arena Toshinden and other masterpieces, made a bowling game? It's just called bowling. We've come full circle. 20 years later, and the name is being reused. This is a Simple Series PS1 game. If you aren't aware, Simple Series was a line of budget titles published by D3 in Japan. And you had a number typically after it, so Simple Series 1500, Simple Series 2000, and that determined how much yen the game was going to be. So Simple Series 2000 meant the game was 2,000 yen. They were cheap. In the US, they were under the A1 Games brand, and they were published by Agetec. These games are very interesting and would be the birthplace of certain cult classics and franchises like Onei Chanbara and Global Defense Force. There's this zombie ambulance game that's an absolute masterpiece of a game. Anyway, there were a ton of sports games by this Simple Series with generic titles, and, well, here's bowling. This game reviewed poorly, and even today I don't see much praise for it, but I actually find it super intriguing. The general presentation is interesting. You're in this void, and you have this first-person view. I don't know, I find it all very charming, but I also love Simple Series slop, so I don't know if you can take, you know, my word for granted. I mean, the more I look at it, the more it is kind of garbage. I mean, look, the ball isn't even thrown, it just appears. Anyway, let's circle back to the Atari, okay? This will still be impressive for me and worth a look at for any bowling fan. I mean, honestly, it's worth a check for anyone. It'll only take you a few minutes to get through a whole game. It's not like got any learning curves. It's not complicated. Just push the button, and depending on what game mode you're playing, that's all you have to do after you position your bowler. Check it out. It's great. It's fun. I enjoy it. It was in the Atari Vault on Steam, but which is how I was playing it, but it got delisted. And funny enough, the new Atari 50 collection doesn't even have it. So thanks for that one, Atari. Keep being great. Well, anyway, I enjoy it. I think you would too, so check it out. Or don't. I really don't care. I'm going to go play some bowling games, and you do whatever you want. Thanks for watching.